Nakuda that I wanted to explain was basically the whole charade of Yosef, you know, as it were, pretending to be someone else, and the whole goal is to bring Binyamin, get Binyamin down. You know, that's what he told him. You know, Parshas Semichas already. You know, you don't bring your brother, you ain't coming back. Right? And then there's, then framing Binyamin. You know, framing Binyamin. You know, and then, and it's on the struggle. It's on the struggle between Yehuda and Binyamin. Between Yosef and Yehuda on Binyamin. It's on that struggle. On the basis of that struggle, all of a sudden Yosef says, "Okay, I'm Yosef." So, what's going through his head? Why is it necessary? Right. Now, there's an ongoing slogan, for lack of a better word, in the Midrashim, in this week's parsha. You know, it's said more than once. You know, when the Medrash is darshaning up the whole confrontation between Yehuda and Yosef, so it says that the other Shvatim were, it says it more than once. The other Shvatim were standing on the sidelines and saying, "Melachim medainim ze im ze anu ma'echpat lanu." We have kings, doing din with each other. What does it concern us? What do you mean? Two out of three people involved are your brothers. Actually, all three were, but they didn't realize that. But two out of three, Yehuda and Binyamin. What was like the brothers, whether consciously or subconsciously, in their super consciousness, understood that what's going on over there is bigger than them, and they have to stay out of it. And let this axis of Yehuda, Yosef, and Binyamin, resolve itself. I just have to get a cup of water. Right. Interestingly enough, the very first challenge Am Yisrael faces as a free nation, is Kriyas Yamsuf. That's their first challenge as a newly born nation, born with Yitzias Mitzrayim, is Kriyas Yamsuf. So now, the psukim in the Kapitel Tehillim follow talk about B'tzeis Yisrael min Mitzrayim, Beis Yaakov Ma'amlois, Hoizoi no Kodro, Yisrael Mam Shaloisa. On this, the Medrash Sheikhar Tov, the Medrash Tehillim, says like this. Right. On the pasuk, Hoisa Yehuda lekotshai, Yisrael Mam Shaloisa. Right. So it says that the Shvatim started fighting with each other. Which one would have the schus to go into the waters first to show their emunah on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because the waters had not yet split yet. So it says like this in marriage: Shevet Binyamin ran ahead first. Shevet Binyamin ran ahead first. Okay, so then Nachshon ben Aminadab jumps ahead of Shevet Binyamin. He like jumped over the whole Shevet, and that's Hoisa Yehuda lekachai, right? And then Yisrael Mam Shalosav says Hashem now promised the Yisrael Mam Shalosav is going on Yehuda. Now Yisrael is who he's going to reign over. Yisrael Mam Shalosav goes on Yehuda. Yisrael Mam Shalosav of Yehuda. Yehuda was Makar Shem Shemayim, Nachshon ben Aminadav. The Nasi of Yehuda was Makar Shem Shemayim. He made it down the Memshala, the Lashon measures, you outdid your, something like, you outdid your brother, which is Binyamin, so now you have the Malchus, you have the Memshala. So the question is, he outdid Shevet Binyamin, so I said he should rule over Shevet Binyamin. But now he got the Memshala, so Lashon measures, you outdid your brother, and now you get, the Memshala of Klal Yisrael. He outdid Binyamin. Why does he get the whole Memshala of Klal Yisrael? Right.
Isn't it understood that if he outdid Binyamin was in the lead, that Memele he outdid?
Okay, so that you could say Pasha, but we're going to say even better. I know Lavi also said that, when he presented. I understand it's not a strong kash, but Yisrael Mam Shalosav. But then the very next pasuk, so, and this is all before the water split. And then Hayom Ra Vayanus. And it says the Medrash, Ma Ra Yom, it saw and reflect, Aroino Shel Yosef. It saw the coffin of Yosef, that just by him it says Vayonas Achutza, by Eshes Potiphar, and Beschus Vayonas Achutza, so Hayom Ra Vayonas. Right? So again, you find, in these three players, right? These three players, Yehuda, Yosef, and Binyamin, by Kriyas Yamsov. And we're going to show the parallel. But again, it's like there's like this idea that we're going to show, that we're going to develop Be'ez Hashem, that these three Shvatim are like the central axis of Klal Yisrael. And we'll show how that event, these three Shvatim basically set the tone for the whole Klal Yisrael. Okay. In Parshas Vayishlach, so now Yaakov fights with the angel, and the angel tells him, your name is gonna change to Yisrael, but not yet. So as Rashi explains, meaning when he talks about Vayashimcha Yisrael, mean in the future, later in the parsha, where you're going to go back to Beit El after the whole story in Shechem. Right, and I'll be there, and I'm going to be, I'll answer Amen, whatever. I'll be moida on the brachas, right? But your name will change to Yisrael in the future. And then Yaakov, after the whole story in Shechem, is told to go back to Beit El, and that's where the that's where he says, in Beit El. Again, Shimcha Yaakov lo yikra Shimcha Yaakov Tim Yisrael Yeshmecha vayikra Shmo Yisrael. But then, right after that, after that vision is over, that nevuah is over, it says Vayatzav Yaakov Matzeva. He's called Yaakov immediately after that encounter of having his name changed to Yisrael. He still is Yaakov, right? Vayikarakov Shema Kol Adir Dosham Be'elokim Beisel. Right? Then the whole thing. Then afterwards we have the story of Rachel dying in childbirth. Right, and then she called the Binyamin Ben Oni. Right? Why we call Binyamin? And she's buried, and Yaakov is still called Yaakov, but buried her, and then after that, Vayisa Yisrael, Vayet Olo, Me'ela V'Gara, Vayibishkon Yisrael Baratzahi. Right? Then for next 2-3 psukim, he's called Yisrael. Right? That the and I believe it's the first time in the Torah he's called Yisrael. Right? And then from that point onwards, sometimes Yaakov, sometimes Yisrael, which we've explained in previous shiurim, high madrega, low madrega. But I'll call upon him, he does, even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself changed it to Yisrael, it does not go into effect until Binyamin is born. And the Indian in that is twofold, but these two folds are really two sides of the same idea, two aspects of the same idea. Because Yisrael is Yaakov's national name. As a private citizen, he's called Yaakov as a private citizen. Right? The name Yisrael is connected, is connected Klal Yisrael. There is no Klal Yisrael, or the Klal is not complete until you have all the Shvatim. So Binyamin had to be born. Now you have the Klal. So Shem Yisrael that goes on the Gans Klal, the whole Klal, takes effect. So part of the inyan of Binyamin is that he is the one that closes the circuit, and now the Shem Yisrael is Klal. Because Klal Yisrael is not complete without Binyamin. Right? And now the Zohar says that the name Yisrael is Bikr and Zman when there's a bias. In Golis we're called Yaakov, right? We spoke about the Zohar, many times, and this fits because and I believe the Zohar itself may even make the connection. The Beis Hamikdash is in the chelik of Binyamin.
So again, the Zohar says when
we are called Yisrael in Bizman HaBayis, not in Golis. In Golis we're called Yaakov. Now, of course, the Beis Hamikdash is in the chelik of Binyamin. Right, so the Shem Yisrael, right, is shaykh to Binyamin. Hein mitzad, he completes the circuit of the Klal. Hein mitzad, that the Beis Hamikdash is in his chelik. And these are not, when I said, these two different reasons are not two separate reasons. They are very much two aspects of the same concept. Now, the Lashon of the Rambam in the Sefer HaMitzvahs, the Lashon around the Sefer HaMitzvahs by Binyan Beis HaPira. Right, the mitzvah to make a Beis Hamikdash, mitzvah saseh chof. Right. So it says, right. Kushitsvan livnos beis havoda boya hakrova v'avar seish tamid ve'elav yahalicha va'aliyah l'regel va'kibutz b'chol shoshana. Part of the din of making beis is to make a place where there'll be aliyah l'regel and a gathering of the whole klal. Right. That's part of the din of making a beis hamikdash. Not just that's one aspect. The first thing around says there you do the hakrova. But also, it's the place of aliyah l'regel and kibbutz. It's a place where all Klal Yisrael gets together. The Beis Hamikdash is the concept of point center. Point center. Now that's part of the Indian Beis Hamikdash. Point center of the Nekuda HaEmtzayis of Klal Yisrael. There all Klal Yisrael meets. They're all l'regel and they gather there. Right? And this is very, very parallel to the idea of a melech. The Rambam in the also in the Sefer HaMitzvahs. Where is it? Basically, it's a place of gathering of all Klal Yisrael. And when he talks about the mitzvah of being Mamid a Melech, what is it? Come on. Here, mitzvah Kufay and Gimel. Hu shetzivanu limno salenu melech yikabetz kol umosenu v'yan higenu. He will gather together our whole nation. He will unify our nation and guide it and lead it. Right. So, you know, this common denominator between the Beis Hamikdash and the Inyan of Malchus, right, is how the Rosh Yeshiva Zichron L'Bracha, Yaakov Weinberg used to explain. I believe we spoke this out, right? You know, the Inyan of Sefer Shmuel. You know, the focus of that book is Malchus, right? Shmuel is the Navi that sets up the Malachim. You know, first Shaul and then subsequently David, right? He's the Navi that sets up the Melech, the Malchus, right? And by no coincidence, right, the first Melech actually came from Shevet Binyamin, Shaul, and we'll get back to that in a minute. But Kayadua, you know, the Sefer Shmuel opens up with the story of Elkanah, right? Shmuel's father, what's his big mitzvah? His big mitzvah is Aliyah L'Rego, right? That's, you know, like Chazal explained that, you know, in his day people were too lazy and couldn't be bothered to do it, and that's why I'll say that he was a big kanoi to revive the mitzvah, and he used to take like the roundabout scenic route to go to the Mishkan, you know, to encourage all class to be oil l'rego with him, you know. So Shiva Zichron L'Vracha said, you know, it's not the pshat that, look, you know, you know, for literary reasons we needed a prologue, right? I mean, talk about the story of Elkanah's Aliyah L'Rego. It's not that way. It's Aliyah L'Rego is parallel to the idea of Malchus for the reasons that we just showed. You know, in Aliyah L'Rego, all Am Yisrael's mitkabetz comes together, and that's what a melech does. So Elkanah, b'schus that he was into Aliyah L'Rego, he was zocher to a son like Shmuel, who is the Navi that sets up the Malchus. That's how Rosh Yeshiva used to explain. Now, Al Pisod, Kayadua, Shechina is from the Midah of Malchus. No, that you know, of the Esser spheres. Kayadua, the sphere of Malchus is the same Midah that we call Shechina. You know, which was what, you know, and that's what's, you know, Shechina is in the Beis Hamikdash, right? And furthermore, the Shechina is that another synonym for that midah is called Knesset Yisrael. Knesset Yisrael, the ingathering of Israel. These are all the Malchus, Shechina, Knesset Yisrael are all synonyms. And this explains the special affinity that, you know, affinity and yet challenge, you know, that there is between the Malchus and the Beis Hamikdash, right? You know, that aside from what we pointed out, you know, because Elkanah was in Aliyah L'Rego, Zocher to a son like Shmuel that sets up the Malchus, but also works that way. David HaMelech, his biggest desire was to build the Beis Hamikdash, right? It got pushed off to Shlomo, right? And Lefi the Rambam Shita is that the Beis Hamikdash Hashlishi has to be built by Melech HaMashiach, right? And furthermore, Gamrinan, we have Halach L'Moshe V'Siyah, and Yeshiva Ba'azar El Malchei Beis David Bilvad, right? Gamrinan and Yeshiva, right? The Melech, the Melech is allowed to sit in the Azara, as if it's the place of the Malchus also, as if it's his place. The rest of Klal Yisrael has to stand, just the Melech mi Beis David. And this is mamish the reason, that Yeravam ben Nevad, who was from Shevet Yosef, spoke about this a lot of, many times, that when the Malchus split to, between Yehuda and Malchus Yehuda and Malchus Yisrael, which was led by Yeravam ben Nevad, who was from Shevet Yosef. So Chazal tell us he couldn't stand the idea, like he wanted to, have relations, at least, vis-a-vis Judaism. But he just couldn't bear the thought that Klal would be Oile L'Rego, see him standing, and Rechavam, his competition, sitting. And he just couldn't stand that idea, and that's why he set up, he outlawed Aliyah L'Rego, and set up, the golden calves, Kayadua. He couldn't bear the thought, that he'll be sitting in Azar and I'll be standing. And because of that, he was Mevata Aliyah L'Rego. And he, mamish, cut off relations totally. And cutting off relations from Klal Yisrael, it's also cutting relation from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He'll set up an Avodah Zarah alternative. Right? And it's all this Nakuda. Because since they'll see him sitting, they'll think he's the real king. Right? But from all this, it's misvire that the inyan of Binyamin is the midah of that's called Klal Yisrael. As it were, this shevet, aside from being a shevet onto its own, the special midah of this shevet is that if there's one shevet that's connected to the concept of Klal Yisrael, the Klal, the Knesset Yisrael, that's Binyamin. Hello? Okay, fine. I'll get it later. I mean, on the landing? Okay, fine. I'll look for it there. I'm not going to be there for another few hours. Okay, thank you for telling me. Fine. All right.
Do we know by any chance where Elkanah was from? Which
Where what?
Elkanah, what Shevet he was from?
I'm sure we
To
can
fit
find
into
out.
the
I think
fit
it was
into
a lady.
the.
I believe it. I think it
Okay,
was a lady.
but so it doesn't fit into the binyan that the Rav wants to.
No, but I will talk about Shaul in a second.
Right.
But all right. The inyan of Binyamin is Klal Yisrael, right? He closed the circuit to make Klal Yisrael Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael wasn't Klal Yisrael until Binyamin was born, because it was a broken circuit, and his chelik is the base image, the Nakuda of center. So so just like Yehuda and Yosef are also individual shvatim, but they have a klal aspect that they are milachim, they are kings. They're short. And Binyamin also has this. He's an individual, but he's also the malchut. Yehuda and Yosef are milachim, kings. Binyamin is the malchut. He's the kingdom, point center of the kingdom. Heavy Omer, he who has Binyamin has Klal Yisrael. He who controls Binyamin controls Klal Yisrael. Control over Binyamin equals control over Klal Yisrael, because the end of Shevet Binyamin is the Nakuda of Klal Yisrael, point center of Klal Yisrael. All right. Now, the big Chag of Binyamin is Purim. Right? Mordechai and Esther are from Shevet Binyamin, and that's alluded to in this week's parasha. Purim's alluded to. It says, and Yosef gave Binyamin chamesh chalifos smolos. Right, and we're going to come back to this. And what does Rashi say? The Chazal say, connected Mordechai was destined to go out from Achashverosh with five levushim. Mordechai had some of now, levush machos, right? Right, what it says over there. So the chamesh chalifos smolos are connected. Those five garments that he was going to be wearing, his descendant Mordechai would be wearing when being Yotzei Milfnei Achashverosh. And we're going to come back to that in a minute. We'll go back to that in greater depth, right? That this is mamish connected the special relationship between Yosef and Binyamin. Binyamin has a special relationship with Yosef. Binyamin has a special relationship with Yehuda also, right? As we'll yet explain and chart out. But what the point I want to make right now, the Nes of Purim, right? So Esther Hamalka. So the Sfar Makdoshim say, not Esther Hamalka because she was married to Achashverosh, but rather Esther Hamalka because the Midah of Malchus, the Shchinta Begalusa, we said, right? Shchina is the Midah of Malchus, right? The Shchinta Begalusa was chal on her. She was like the Merkava of the Midah of Malchus in that generation. So now when Mordechai tells her, look, there's this Gezerah, right? What does Esther Hamalka do? Lech Knois es kol haYehudim anitzoyim b'Shushan, right? Gather them all together for a tfilas tzibur. Zok the Maral in his Pirush or Chodesh on the Haggadah, on the Megillah, the Maral says that's what Esther was trying to do. Pull Klal Yisrael together as one nation, and he invokes the Gemara in Brachas that call out mispalim matzibur male anila kilu padani ulebonai mibena umais. Explains more like this, because when we're a nation, and that koach is mitorer and tefillah b'tzibur.
What's the lesson kol ha?
It's kol mispal matzibur. It's kol brachas.
Kol mispal imatzibur.
Right. So mali enough. I don't remember the whole lesson of Chazal, but amongst the other things that it says over there is kilu padani ulevonai mibena umais. It's a Gemara in Brachas in the first parak. So the Maral invokes that Gemara and says that's what Esther was thinking. Her thinking was, I'm going to be more the midah of Knesset Yisrael, lech Knoises Kol Yehudim, and then I'm going to reawaken Am Yisrael's nationhood as an independent nation, and in that Mahalach, they're under Hashem only, and Mimela they will transcend where Haman's Gzeir is. Haman's Gzeir is in Malchus Achashverosh, right? That's where his Gzeir is in effect, in Malchus Achashverosh. If I'm Ma'ira the Midah of Knesset Yisrael, right? Which was in Golis at the time, Shchinta Begalusa, and she was Esther, that's connected that Esther Hamalka in Beis Achashverosh. I'm going to be Ma'ira the Midah of Knesset Yisrael, right? And that's what's going to make Klal Yisrael beyond where the Gzeir of Haman reaches, because when Am Yisrael is an Am, acts as an Am, and not as a bunch of individuals with the same ethnicity, but as an Am, so they're under Hashem. They're under Hashem directly, and right? Right? And it's not quite. She was from Shevet Binyamin, and she could, do that, have that koach, to be more the koach of the cloud. And this also explains why temporarily Hanhoga could come from Shevet Binyamin also. Even though it's not meant to be the way. Binyamin is meant to be led. I guess you recall, Binyamin is the government, but there's the leaders that run the government. But that's why Lefi Shah, whether Shaul Bismano or Mordechai Vester Bismanam, right? You could have a leader from Binyamin also, because Binyamin is like Etzem HaMalchus. But the problem that Malchus is to be, the Malchus is supposed to be led. But that's why Lefi Shah, you could have a Melech, from Binyamin also. So now we go back to the Lashon of that Medrash Shochar Tov, on these Sukkim in the Tehillim of Hallel. So, Yisrael Mam Shaloisav. Binyamin is Gans Klal Yisrael. So that which Binyamin was first, so Binyamin, is not just a private Shevet. Binyamin represents Knesset Yisrael, right? As well, Binyamin represented the collective Ratzon of Klal Yisrael. Also, the collective Ratzon of Klal Yisrael to show their emunah HaKadosh Baruch Hu and jump in, and Yehuda jumped in front. I mean, Yisro Mam Shaloisov. Binyamin is Klal Yisrael. So now you outdid Binyamin, but Binyamin is Yisro. Yisro Mam Shaloisov. So now Yehuda reigns over Klal Yisrael. Right? Excuse me. Hello.
נכון או לא? אבל למיסה, אם היה מיסה, בין רבון אחרון חי. כן? אבל אם היה נזיקי?
Alright, aren't they going to throw you out soon anyway? Alright, so hang out there till they throw you out. So you can say you were there as long as you could. Alright? Alright, so I understand it's probably in a few minutes. Alright, so just do it. Hang out till the bitter end. Maybe you'll get a few words out of it. Who knows? My wife had intensive care of my father-in-law. No, he's not conscious. You know. But he's not being respirated anymore. I mean, he could breathe by himself. It's a big improvement.
Ah.
But he's not conscious. She has no sleep over but they throw everyone out of the intensive care. Visiting hours are over at like 8 o'clock. So be there a few more minutes. Good, so anyway, so
Yisrael Mamshel Sub. So Yehuda gained leadership all of Klal Yisrael
because that's what Binyamin is. Binyamin is Yisrael. So Yisrael Mamshel, you outdid. So now the Lashon Medrash is very good. You outdid your brother. Now you reign over Klal Yisrael because Binyamin is Klal Yisrael. He who has Binyamin has Klal Yisrael. Right? And yet, Hayam Rav Vayonos, Yosef is, not out of the picture totally, and we're going to have to chart it out a little bit. Right? Hayam Rav Vayonos, Bischus, Bischus Yosef, that Vayonos Achutza. And now you see that Yehuda and Yosef are playing their classical roles that we have explained until now. That Yehuda is, his batlus, right? So he just in b'mesiras nefesh. I don't care. The water reached up to his nose. Chazal say, right? But of course, the actual miracle happens in the schus of Yosef. Mida keneged mida, that he was oimei ben nisayin, and he was mitzgaber on his teva. So now the nace, which is keneged the teva, happens. You find Yehuda and Yosef, performing their classical roles. The koach of Maisa, which is Yosef, the Maisa, the sea split, the schus arono sheyosef, that Vayonos Achutza, but Yehuda showing his bitochen and bitul hadas to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But what's between them, between Yehuda and Yosef, is Binyamin.
I'm sorry, I'm not just physically. I'm not getting the picture.
Yeah.
Where's the Aaron and where is Yehuda and where is Binyamin?
Now listen, I didn't mean literally between. I think in concept, these are the movers.
Okay.
These are the movers.
Well, how did the Rav understand? What does it mean that in the
I don't know if the next thing that went into the Yam was Mamash Arono Shel Yosef, but I imagine it must have been because it was getting dangerous. That's what it says. It didn't split until it saw Arono Shel Yosef. So you have Yehuda in front, Binyamin in the middle. He jumped ahead of Binyamin, and Masha. So following right from the other side, from the flank, the other side of Binyamin is Yosef. It's always that, because these are our two kings, and Binyamin is the Etzem HaMalchus. Right. Right. So I don't know where, maybe this should have been inserted earlier, but now the Beis HaMikdash has a duality to it. That's Mamish Keneged Yehuda and Yosef. So even though it predominantly belongs to Yehuda, Like first of all, Chazal say there's like a certain area of the base of Mikdash actually is from Shevet Yehuda, and Binyamin Walsh wanted to swallow up. There was like a little jutting. I can't remember. It was like was it Ben Ulam LaMizbech or something like that. There was like a certain stretch that was technically from from the land of Yehuda. And of course, in this week's parsha, what causes, as it were, Yehuda to prevail, seemingly, is because he took Arvus for Binyamin. There's a special connection, and that's, and ironically, when the Malchus split, between Yehuda and Yosef, in the days of Rechavam versus Yeravam, Shevet Binyamin stuck with Yehuda. Because, the Ikra Malchus is by Yehuda, and that plays out that Binyamin sticks with Yehuda. But of course, as Yosef is a melech also, so there's a special aspect of Binyamin that's mityaches to him also, even though, let's say, Yehuda is dominant. And that's the duality that we have in the Beis HaMikdash. Now, you could change the order of the concepts, the whatever facilitates the build-up best. Yeah. But a Beis HaMikdash has two aspects to it. So the Rambam, in the Sefer is quoted, it's a makom of avodah. It's also a makom of kibbutz. But it's also a base tefillah. It's a house of sacrifice, but it's also a house of prayer. Right? Ki basi base tefillah yikari l'cholamim, and many other psukim that refer to base as a base tefillah. Now again, in Kayadur, the Rambam's shita is that there's a mitzvah saseh to daven. Yeah. So the Lashon Rambam in Sefer Mitzvahs, mitzvah hey, right? Even though tefillah is the nusach tefillah is d'Rabbanan, but the idea of davening is d'oraisa, and the Ram brings he has an interesting shot in a Chazal where he wants to prove his point. Amru minayin leikar tefillah betoch mitzvahs ket melcha et Hashem kechatira v'oso tavod v'amru v'oso tavod avdeu b'toirasoi, worship him with his Torah, avdeu b'mikdasho, worship him in the mikdash, which Ram's shot is that kloimar lo lechet sham litpalel bo v'negdo kamo shebir Shlomo alav Hashem.
What's the second lesson? Avdehu b'toraso, avdehu
b'mikdashoi, which Ram says refers to tefillah. Lo lechet sham litpalel bo, there's Ram, to go there and daven. This is right, the Ram's right that there's a mitzvah saseh of tefillah. You go to the Beis Hamikdash to daven, and also and v'negdo, and if you're not there, then you have to face the makom hamikdash. It's an amazing thing that the nusach hatefillah is the rabbanon, but the din of facing the makom hamikdash is d'oraisa. Meaning, back in the old days, before there was a kavua nusach hatefillah, whenever you would say your own stuff, according to Rambam, you had to face the makom hamikdash and say your own stuff. Right? As he brings the psukim, he refers us to the psukim that Shlomo Melch said, when he inaugurated the Beis HaMikdash, hear the prayers of everyone that davens here. All the prayers should go through this house. Yeah, it's a makom of tefillah. It's a makom of tefillah. So it's a makom of hakrava, and there's a makom of tefillah. Right? And these two koiches are mamish keneged Yosef and Yehuda. Now hakrava is very simple. It's maisa. Right? Physically serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Physically serving him. Even though he doesn't need anything, but doesn't change the fact that I'm serving him. Even though he doesn't need it, but so what? I'm serving him. I'm giving him my korbanos. Right? As it were, I'm doing for him, and I could expect that he will, give me back. Give him the korbanos. Right? Avodah kipshutai. But tefillah, which is, albeit it's called avodah, but it's called avodah shebalev, not avodah shebapeh. Right? So all the makars that refer to tefillah as avodah shebalev. What did I give? I just gave over myself. His batlos, avodah shebalev, not avodah shebapeh. Tefillah is not avoda because I give praise. It is not. The avoda of tefillah is the hisbatlus. I gave myself over. And the proper way to daven from HaKadosh was not saying, God, you owe me. You're not supposed to say, Ribono Shel Olam, just give because I'm asking, and not that you owe me anything. It's hisbatlus gemura. And that's why the aspect of avoda of tefillah is called avoda shebalev. I give myself over. It's hisbatlus. And that's what David HaMelech says, the Sfarim say, in Tehillim, Va'ani tefillah. So the Pasha is, and I David. No. But as the Sfarim say, Va'ani tefillah, the in of David HaMelech, that is in of his batlus, melchus, lesla migarma klum, that's called tefillah. That's how you're supposed to daven. That's how you're supposed to daven. There's avoda and then there's his batlus. Mamish keneged Yosef and Yehuda. And the base of Midrash, which is the Indian of Binyamin, is is point center where you have both hanhagas. The koch of the avoda and the koch of tefillah, the can do and the hisbatlus.
Why does the Rav want to emphasize so much? I understand by Yehuda Dobi the hisbatlus aspect and not expecting gemur. Why is it important by Yosef that we understand that when you're makriv, that there's an expectation for something in return?
No, it's not important the expectation, but the relationship is kiviyachol. I'm doing, and I'm trying to explain the concept of I'm doing, I'm accomplishing, and I'm duly rewarded. Mamshich the shefa because I did mine, so mamshich the shefa.
Okay, because that's a metzius by Yosef himself, by the hatzlacha that he had.
Right. You do and you get. You do and you get. And tefillah is not because I do. It's just right. It's not because I do. It's right. And it is a very, very important aspect. We get mixed up that our tefillah of Bisman Hazeh, not to be mixed up, that our tefillah of Bisman Hazeh is a hybrid. Our tefillah of Bisman Hazeh is a hybrid. Because we have to make up for the lack of korbanos also, right? So, right, and that's why the Zmanei Tefillah connected to Zmanei Korbanos, and Korbanos is also part of the Nusach HaTefillah, the first quarter of davening is Korbanos, right? And we say Neshama Parim Sfasenu, but that's the point. Neshama Parim Sfasenu, right? There's an aspect of like praise, Sfasenu, praise, and that's but that's not the pure tefillah. Back in the old days when we had korbanos, so we didn't need the neshama parim sfasenu, we had avoda shebalev. It's pure as batlus. You don't need to do lip service because you're doing physical service. Now we have to do lip service instead of physical service, but that's not the ikar tefillah. Ikar tefillah is batlus, giving over the lave. So of course you could do a type of avoda beped that's similar to the avoda of korbanos. I'm giving him praise, it's like I'm giving him a korban. Or I'm saying over the psukim of the korban, and it's like as if I'm makriv a korban, but that type of tefillah is not the pure tefillah. That's the koach of dibur to supplement for korbanos, and that's why that's called belev. It's called the neshama parim sfasenu, my lips, right? Oh. And with this, we get to something that niflamoy that the Zohar says. I'm not necessarily going in the proper order. I really should. And in the shir, I said to save this point for last. The in of Semichas Geula l'tefillah, that the Zohar darshans in this week's parsha on Vayigash elav Yehuda. Vayigash elav Yehuda, Semichas Geula l'tefillah. The tefillah went to the Geula. That all the first parts of davening prior to the etzem tefillah. Right, what's called tefillah per se is the Shemona Esrei, and of course at that moment you're in total hisbatlus to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? right? Then there's Geulas, like the Lashon of Rashi on that Gemara. You speak the praises of Hashem, talking about Yitzias Mitzrayim, and that's sort of like knocking on the door, says Rashi. You're getting close to him by praising him. But then the actual tefillah is that after all the getting close by praising, which is the way that we do for him, bisman hazeh, that we don't have karbonas, but after that comes tefillah, the total hisbatlos.
Even though there is an aspect that's different in that the tefillah that we do. He's saying that in the Bisman Beis HaMikdash, bakashas were not the ikar, any ikar, as opposed to
No,
now.
there were two different. There was karbonas and
I know,
and,
but the
and
tefillah itself.
No,
Bisman
so
Beis
tefillah
HaMikdash.
wasn't the tefillah as wasn't.
Shevach was the ikar bechina of tefillah in those days,
No,
not
no,
bakasha.
no. I'm saying hafuch. No, the need for shevach. Now there is an inyan of shevach, yeah, but no, the ikar of tefillah is always the hisbatlos. That's the ikar of tefillah. There is a component of tefillah called shevach, but the component of shevach, right, is not the spitz of what tefillah is about, but it is that component that enables tefillah to also, the shevach aspect is the component that enables tefillah to supplement for korbanos. But the etzem of tefillah remains the hisbatlus, right? Now, tefillah does have an aspect of speaking shvachol shel makom, right? Shvachol shel makom, and because tefillah has that, that's why tefillah could now play a dual role and be this and that.
Right.
Now, but the Indian of Semichas Geula too, the Zohar darshed it on what happened over here, right? Semichas Geula tefillah. Yehuda meets Yosef, and that's besides Semichas Geula tefillah. Of course, the Geula, right? The Geula of course means speaking Hashem's shevach. Rashi explains we come close to him by speaking the shevach of how he was goel us, right? And that's a Yosef dika thing. Right? We're doing something. We're doing something to awaken the relationship. And that's, as it were, that relates to our koach. To give nachas ruach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu through our maisim or through our diburim. Right? But then it comes, you're supposed to be somachet to tefillah with no hefsek. That you have to know that together with doing whatever you can do, has to come hisbatlus, and you have to do it with samuch, that there should be no gap between them. That's called shleimas ha'avoda. Do what you can do, and then be mevatel yourself. That's the end of smichas geula tefillah. Geula without tefillah and tefillah without geula is not shleimas ha'avoda. The Makom HaMikdash is a place of avoda and a Makom of tefillah, and we have to do, right? And that by us, the shleimus of having the two together, despite the differences between them, that's the sod of the inyan of Semichas Geula tefillah. And that's what the Zohar says happened in this week's parsha. The unification between, the reunification of Yehuda and Yosef is beside a parallel concept of Semichas Geula tefillah, and that happens on the background of Binyamin.
The Rabbi is trying to say that Binyamin is the catalyst for it, or
the platform, the platform upon which this all takes place, the stage. He's Klal Yisrael. He's the Makom HaMikdash, where you have the avoda and the tefillah coming together. But I guess what I'm about to say, we should have said earlier. In the Shir Friday night, I actually said it earlier. You have to understand, like we said in an earlier Shir, right? When the brothers sold Yosef, they mamish chucked him out of Klal Yisrael, and that's the inyan. That's now we understand deeper the soda dover, that they were mashbia the shechina, right? They pulled the shechina into the conspiracy, and that's why even Hashem didn't reveal to Yaakov that Yosef is still alive. The in that they were mashbia the shechina, we explained already, right? Is that they wanted to try to create a Klal Yisrael without Yosef. You know, and that, you know what? You know, typically the Shekhinah should not be Shira and Klal, so Klal is incomplete. We'll be Mashbia the Shekhinah. We're going to force the Shekhinah. We're going to force the Shekhinah to go along with it, that there'll be a Klal Yisrael without Yosef. Right? That's saying that they were Mashbia the Shekhinah. We're over time?
No, not at all.
All right.
So,
All right. And that's saying that they were Mashbia. No.
I need to just...
No, you're having heartburn like I have heartburn.
No
It's not
heartburn.
contagious.
I have enough issues, don't add that to the list. Okay. Yeah. Okay, without Yosef,
All right,
yes.
that's it. We must be a shit. So you have to understand what's going on over here. Yosef is mamish out of Klal Yisrael. So he's out of Klal Yisrael, right? He is out of Klal Yisrael. So Mimela, this whole thing is not a charade. He's mamish out. So even though, of course, Al Peep Shot, the Gemara in Yevamah says, Rashi brings it, Yosef recognized him, but they didn't recognize him because they had beards at the time that he was sold, and he didn't yet have a beard, you know. But and of course, the Pshat is emes, but Al Pi Side, running parallel to the Pshat, he sees them. They're Klal Yisrael. They don't recognize him as Klal Yisrael because they mamish chucked him out. If Yosef would just say, "Hey, I'm Yosef," right? It would not do the proper pu'ula of getting him back in. He needs to get back in. Getting back into Klal Yisrael is Binyamin. That's why he needs to bring Binyamin. Bring Binyamin. I need Binyamin. It wasn't the Dani Del Stam, This was, Yosef's the way to get back in is through Binyamin, because Binyamin is the Nakud of Klal Yisrael. Bring Binyamin. If Yosef has Binyamin, Yosef's in. But by the way, with this you can understand, the brothers initially volunteered they should all be avodim to Yosef, right? And Yosef says something shocking. And I said, I don't want everyone. I just want Binyamin, right? And that's when they go haywire. Yehuda goes haywire. First of all, no, you understand what they were thinking, right? We're still Klal Yisrael if we're all together. So if we're all slaves together with Binyamin, we're still Klal Yisrael. Yosef, I'm taking Binyamin, and you, Alu L'Shom La'avichem. Oh no, that's the bittul of Klal Yisrael, because the Nakud of Klal Yisrael, Yosef is keeping by him. Hello? אני ממש באמצע משהו, אני כבר שם, אבל אני באמצע משהו, אני לא יכול. אני כבר פה, אבל אני לומד עם מישהו, אני צריך לשמוע משהו עם מישהו. ב8:30. אוקיי? טוב. Right, but that's the Inyan. Yosef, and of course, Yosef in his own mind is going al kol kupa, back into Klal Yisrael and Melech. That's the Indian. He wants to control Binyamin. And the Ishbitzer says that's the Soida Davar. He planted his Gavia in Binyamin stuff. There was like a whole cheshbon even to how he framed Binyamin. It wasn't just Stam, I'm going to frame him. He put his cup, right? Shot is, my kalim are by Binyamin. I'm the one who's manhig Binyamin. My kalim are by him. Which is emes. There is a nakud of how Binyamin is munhag. Chesro is munhag by Yosef, and there's how Binyamin is munhag by Yehuda. So of course he was going al kol kupa, as they say. I'm back into Klal Yisrael, but back in my rightful position of Melech, and that's what he wants. Binyamin's by me. Who needs you guys? I want Binyamin. Right? And he planted his cup by Binyamin, my kalim are by Binyamin. I'm the one who's managed Binyamin. Right?
Semichas Geula Tefillah shouldn't. L'chora, the tzir should be the other way around. From what I remember, the picture that I remember is Yosef asking them to come closer, asking Yehuda to come closer to him. But the way that we're saying it, it almost sounds like Yosef should be the one that's going, Yosef being Geula, should be the one that's going out to.
Yehuda went to him.
Right. So, but Yehuda represents Tefillah.
Yeah.
So, but in that sense, it's the opposite direction. No, technically speaking.
So technically speaking, right? Tefillah is called tefillah, but it's mashal from some of the Rishonim there that the ikar is that the tefillah be close to the gula, not the gula be close to the tefillah.
Chazal expressed it as Geula Tefillah because that's the chronological.
First, right? But it's really that the tefillah should be close to the
Nismach,
right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, he's of course, he's going out kol kupa. Yeah, I'm going for Binyamin's mamish by me, exclusive rights to Binyamin, right? Right. And it's my kelim are by Binyamin. But of course, Yehuda says Anochi Araveno. I took him. I took Arvus in both Olamis. There's no way you could take Binyamin away from me. And on that record, when Yosef realizes that, he's like, Ki Abtcha Rab Sanar, right? 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 All right, he's not going to have, he's not going to have Binyamin to the exclusion of Yehuda, but already there was this, opening. Now, so then he reveals himself. But the equation remains true. Equation is not the right word. That Yosef is Manik Binyamin under certain circumstances, and Yehuda is Manik Binyamin under circumstances. If it's going to be one or the other, Yehuda will win, right? But really, as we've explained it over and over again, Yehuda is the minister of internal affairs, right? Right? And Yosef is the minister of external affairs. Right? Right. And Purim was an example of that. That's what's present. Not that after he reveals himself, he gives everyone new clothes, and Binyamin 5 sets of clothes, alluding to the nace of Purim, right? That you're a great girl. Why now Purim? That was an example of how Yosef is manhik Binyamin, right? Because the whole story of Purim was external affairs. It was a nace that happened in Golus. External affairs, right? So the the koach that Shevet Binyamin showed, Mordechai and Esther, that's the koach that they had from the influence of Yosef. Right, Kayadua, the Sfarim say, Ador is like Shevet Yosef. First of all, it's Mazel Dogim, and Yosef got the bracha B'yidgu Larav, the Kerev Haaretz, and just like Yosef, subdivides into two Shvatim, Menashe and Ephraim. It's also Ador is Ador Aleph and Ador Sheni. Kayadua. Right. The nace of Purim is an example of how Binyamin is munhag and gets direction from the Yosef aspect. Right? That's right. And that's what he shows at this time. He made it back into Klal Yisrael. He also has his rightful place at the helm when Shaykh, like as per the nace of Purim. As I gives a Chamesh Khalifa smokes. I think we covered everything.
Okay.
So I don't know. You might want to play with the order of the concepts, whoever thinks to build up best.
Okay, shkoyach. Bush name it your father-in-law.
Oh no. I'll look. It's like Mama Shanae.